Tremendous Cosmic Peace in Noon Times. This is part 5, and we're still continuing with the 12 gates of the underworld and how those ancient parchments and papyrus of dealing with the afterlife, according to our ancestors, the African, Kemet, Egyptian ancestors, were pretty much lifted from them and brought into what's called Christianity today. So we want to go deep into that, all right? So let's continue. The 6th gate, Ra's boat approaches the 7 jackal-headed poles with 2 enemies bound to each one, waiting to be beheaded. Listen to Nubahar's Sunright Cosmic Reasoning. These 2 enemies waiting to be beheaded are actually 3. The dragon, whom is not mentioned in Revelation chapter 19, was excluded. However, will be mentioned as evidence. Leviathan, the devil, whom will be struck with a sword, will be attacked. In that day, the Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great, and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. The first enemy is the beast, animal, zodiac, earth power that controls humans and nations. The false prophet is the second enemy, who represents all the spirit beings that program and control nations of people in their lands and societies. And these 2 will be thrown into the lake of fire along with the devil. Revelation chapter 19:10. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worship his image. These both will cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. Listen to Nubahar's Sunright Cosmic Reasoning. These 3 powerful Zupu negative religious forces are mentioned together and shows that they control humans and their surroundings. In these quotes, they are given another name to who they are in the parts of the Bible. Revelation 16:13 says, and I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet 3 unclean spirits like frogs. For they are spirits of demons performing signs which go forth to the kings of the whole inhabited world to gather them together unto the battle of the great day of God the Almighty. Side notes, the frog references can be traced back to ancient Kemet. There was a frog goddess called Heket, and this is what was taught, and this is what was brought into the book of Revelation. All right, so this is the Egyptian frog goddess, all right, which you can find on the walls. Just do some research on Heket and you'll see her up there. All right. Heket held a vital role in the complex and ritualistic ancient Egyptian religion. As the goddess of birth, fertility, and creation, she played a crucial part in the mythological narrative of the rebirth of Osiris. With her association with the process of mummification, Heket was regarded as an influential figure during the final stages of life and symbolized the cycle of life, death, and resurrection. Heket's involvement in the Osiris myth, Heket, the Egyptian goddess with a frog's head, played a significant role in the myth of Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of the afterlife and rebirth. She was intimately connected to the resurrection of Osiris, symbolizing the transformative powers of life and death. Heket's role in the resurrection of Osiris. Heket's involvement in the resurrection of Osiris was crucial. According to mythology, after Osiris was killed by his brother Seth, his body was dismembered and scattered. It was through the intervention of Heket that Osiris was able to be resurrected and become the ruler of the Egyptian underworld. As you, the reader and listener, can surely see, Osiris' ancient religion is Christianity today. Heket is crucial for the resurrection of Osiris' modern cult. This is why Christians are so programmed to believe in the death of Jesus and his resurrection. Not equal standing, they are reenacting the murder of Osiris by Seth, his brother, Cain and Abel, and then resurrected by Isis, God raised Christ, who had Horus with a dead god, and he became great. The son of Osiris, god of death, Heru, Horus, became Jesus, the son of God, and the son, Jesus, was born by a dead spirit who impregnated Mary. Remember, all this is called sexual necromancy. All right? Sexual necromancy, also known as necrophilia, refers to a sexual attraction to or sexual activity with dead bodies. So, according to the story, Isis gathered up all of the Osiris body parts, casted a spell with the help of Heket, and then had sex with her. So that's called necrophilia, having sex with a dead body. Necrophilia, this term specifically describes the condition of being sexually attracted to or engaging in sexual activity with corpses. Synonymous, necromania and necrophilism are also used to describe this condition. Context: while the term necromancy is often associated with the practice of communicating with or raising the dead, in this context is used in the context of sexual attraction or activity. Rare occurrences. According to Wikipedia, necrophilia is a rare condition, not to be confused with necromanticism. Necromanticism refers to the practice of conjuring or communicating with the dead, while necrophilia is specifically about sexual attraction to corpses. So in this case, it was both in Isis' case, if you go with the mythology. This is why Christians say that Jesus' birth is so important without a man, but by the power of God. Yet in Heru, Horus' story, Set or Isis gets pregnant with a dead god who's not a man, using spells and magic. Complete reversal. Listen to reason. The force of pantheism uses this science, the opposite science, to do their manifestations in nature by way of brain newt, 6 ether, 5 ether, and also 4 ether necromancy and reason. The forces of religion use this science, the existence and non-existence, to do their activities in nature by way of brain newts, 5 ether, 4 ether, and 3 ether necromancy and belief. And religion, right, falls in the category of 3 ether necromancy and belief. Listen to reason. The scribe maintains that the powers of religion work by spellbinding the person to believe by way of necromancy, the power of the dead. That is, the spirit dead, and the powers of Noone, 9, reason, energy, Nupu, work by giving the person correct information about absolute eternal nature and its laws. And again, this is the same thing with Christianity. They always talking about how Jesus died, the death of Jesus, bleeding the blood of Jesus on you. If you don't believe that Jesus died and resurrected, then you're not going to see heaven and all of that. It's the same thing. Y'all practicing Osiris religion in the modern day time and are too ignorant to it. And necromancy is a part of it. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 1, pages 236 and 254 on par. What is also important to see is that the wise men that came to see Jesus at his birth are called magi, which means magicians in the Greek. Once again, Bible editors trying to hide the connection. Matthew 2:1 says, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, magi from the east came to Jerusalem. This is the Greek definition of 3097. Magos is masculine, meaning magi, wise men. Look, a sorcerer, a magician, a wizard. So you have magicians and wizards coming to see Jesus, allegedly. Word of origin, a foreign origin related to the old Persian magush, referring to a member of a priestly caste. A foreign origin related to the old the Hebrew equivalent often associated with magos is chakam, meaning wise or skillful, though it does not directly translate to the same role as the magi. The term magos refers to a member of a class of wise men, astrologers, or magicians. In the New Testament, it specifically denotes the wise men from the east who visited Jesus after his birth, guided by a star. These individuals were likely scholars or priests with knowledge of astronomy and possibly astrology who interpreted celestial events as significant. And again, you got a lot of Bible thumpers out there to say, oh, astrology and astronomy is wrong, is evil. But the same three men that supposed to came to see Jesus used astrology and astronomy to chart where the sun was, right? Where Jesus was born at. Contradictions, hypocrites. Now we go back to the two enemy quotes, Revelation chapter 19, 20 through 21. And I saw the beast, the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him who sat on the horse and against his army. Then the beast was captured, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who received the mark of the beast and those who worship his image. These two were cast alive in a lake of fire burning with brimstone, Revelation 20:10. The devil who deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Listen to New House Soundright Cosmic Particles Reasoning. The proper word for brimstone in this quote is sulfur, Revelation 20:10, and you see the word for sulfur, the Greek word is theon or theon, all right? And it means, it's a neuter, theon or theon, defining sulfur, brimstone, meaning brimstone or sulfur, derived from theos, meaning God or divine. All right, so now we see that the Greek word for God in the New Testament, the word sulfur, also derived from that, because the word theon, they got the root word theos, meaning God or divine. Often translated as brimstone in the Old Testament, used in context of divine judgment, such as destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19:24. In the New Testament, theon is used to describe sulfur or brimstone, often in the context of divine judgment or purification. The term is associated with fire and burning, symbolizing the consuming and purifying nature of God's judgment. Listen to New House Soundright Cosmic Particles Reasoning. Religion, especially Christianity, has been misinformed about sulfur and has made many movies about how sulfur is negative and satanic, or you will smell sulfur when a demon is around. This is not accurate, and Noonaboos who study Noone science know better. Listen to reason. The writer repeats, spirit beings partake, share what people eat, because many of them are indeed incarnate within people. Therefore, purification and cleansing process, as with sulfur or turpentine by the person inhabited, helps strengthen the powers of the positive spirits and lessen the forces of the negative ones. In the case of the Ethiopian race, Leviathan, the spirits who rule, sends lesser and submissive spirits to help keep members of the black race down in the world and under other human races, while aiding our oppressors with higher and aggressive spirits. And this means that members of the African race, the black race, the kinkhead race, are under an evil spiritual spell spun by the negative and evolutionary forces of nature. But knowing and practicing nature knowledge, spirit purification processes, and right nutrition will help us Ethiopian by race solve problems and others. Let it be remembered, also let it be known. Introduction to Nature Book 1, page 121. You can find more information on sulfur and its spiritual purpose in Nature Book 1, page 126, and Nature Book 2, pages 216 and 218. Here are a few gematria, as well as go to find9news.com to get the books too. All right, so we had the word sulfur, come out to 115. Anti-spirit cleaning, come out to 115. Sulfur, come out to 97. And burn demon spirit clean, come out to 97. All right, we read more on it. Apparently the neuter of the adjective theon equivalent to divine incense, because burning brimstone was regarded as having power to purify and to ward off contagion. All right. Now you, the reader and listener, has been exposed to the spiritual powers of sulfur. The question is, where does sulfur come from? Where can sulfur be found on Earth? There's a lot of sulfur near volcanoes. Volcanoes are actually holes in the surface of the Earth. All sorts of chemicals come out of these holes, and sulfur is one of them. If you ever get close enough to a volcano, you'll be able to smell the sulfur. It smells like rotten eggs. Where can you find sulfur? Sulfur is one of those elements you can never forget. It is bright yellow in color and has a really bad smell like rotten eggs. Beyond the obvious, physical traits of sulfur. Man has been using this element for thousands of years. Why? Well, you might just find it sitting on the ground. Sulfur is often found in volcanoes and hot springs. Historically, when man finds pure elements that are readily available, he puts them to use. Sulfur is even mentioned in the Bible where it is called brimstone. Side note, this is the natural smell of sulfur, and this has been mistakenly been associated with the smell of evil spirits. This is not true. Although spirits can make it appear as so. So you got some men who are actually mining it and getting it and bringing it back. Do your research. And they even sell it over here in America. All right, I got a good bit of this myself. Foods with sulfur. Dietary sulfur comes in many forms. It was once thought that animal-based proteins were the primary source of sulfur, but we now know that it's also found in a variety of plant-based foods and non-protein foods. The recommended daily allowance for methionine has been set at 14 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, or approximately 1,000 milligrams per day. No RDA has been set for other forms of sulfur. The sulfur-containing foods below have been shown to provide health benefits. However, some consumers have reported experiencing gastrointestinal discomfort, with cases resulting in ulcerative colitis from sulfates found in drinking water and some allium and cruciferous vegetables. Foods with sulfur: turkey, beef, eggs, fish and chicken, nuts, seed, grains and legumes, chickpeas, allium vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, whole grains, leafy vegetables. So sulfur makes up about 3% of the Earth's mass. According to Chemical, that is enough sulfur to make 2 additional moons. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals and burning sulfur. A scorching wind will be their lot. Psalms 11:6. So listen to Noone Bahar's Sound Right Cosmic Particles reasoning. Now that we know sulfur is inside Earth, bodies, food, and volcanoes, it should make you ask that how can hell be in another place when you die? When you read the quotes about the devil, the beast, and human beings, people are still alive and have not died. Also, a fire needs oxygen to burn. In other words, the Bible editor slipped up and did not cover up that. Sulfur, brimstone wasn't some power of God that only shows up from heaven like the movies and stories portray. Sulfur is the 10th most abundant chemical in the universe. Sulfur is used to burn negative spirits into positive ones over a long period of time. Listen to Sound Right Reason. The results are the 0.3 South cataclysm or conceptions and gestation, a new beginning for person and things to develop ways and means needed to send a person's and things back upward toward godhood and heavenly condition. And the first of the ways and means needed is the science Noone and the power of Sound Right Reason Nupu to lead the way. The 0.6 East cataclysm is called the fires or ether cataclysm because it ethically unites person and things by burning them back into place, meaning original formulas and things go back into place where they were at birth of the universes, and they do things as though they know where they belong and have always means of getting there. And this upheaval restoring activities by facies, brain newts via 9 ether and 9 reason are truly supernatural and miraculous. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature Book 3, page 96 of the PDF. So this is another reason why sulfur is taken, because the Nature book talked about people need to be more united with their spirit. And the only way you can do that, besides the reading the information and all that, you have to look into what sulfur does. And it's a burning in the blood, and that helps burn the spirit being into conformity and unification with the human being. Now, to get a large group of spirits, it has to be a lot of volcanoes going off at the same time. The lake of fire quote isn't true, and a lake could not fit billions of people into it. The location that would happen is called the ring of fire. This will happen in the world of humans, not in another dimension. All right, so this is what a ring of fire is, and it's mad volcanoes, and this is like 75% of the world volcanoes is what these volcanoes go at. Listen to Nubaha Sunray Cosmic Particles Reasoning. The Bible editors hid the knowledge of how important volcanoes and the sulfur that will be ejected into the atmosphere, into the water, and on land. It is this heat and sulfur that will torment Leviathan, the earth god Geb, and the negative spirits, also called the serpent, the beast, and the false prophet, respectfully. Jutar Kino Unanupu will add these hidden quotes from the books of Revelation chapter 8, 9, 14, and 15, and even quotes from the Holy Quran, who also suffered the same deception. It was our help that these answers were given to you, the reader and listeners. If you want, if you want these books, go to find9news.com to have the spell of religion broken by Sunrise Reason ourselves. Let this be known. New Revelation Interpretation chapters 8 and 9. Revelation 9, 1 through 7. The fifth angel blew his trumpet, and I saw a star falling from heaven to earth, and he was given the key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. He opened the shaft of the bottomless pit, and from the shaft rose smoke. Like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and their air were darkened with the smoke from the shaft. Explanation. We're going to get into that. The fifth angel is the planet Mercury. This orb will be in the same zodiac house as the sun. The shaft of the bottomless pit and great furnace is speaking about volcanic eruptions. When they erupt, the smoke darkens the sky, similar to locusts when there is a lot of them in the sky. So again, back then, they didn't have stoves and stuff. They had furnaces where they, would build a square type thing and put coal or wood or something that burns, or even when they was, dealing with that, with making swords and iron and all that. So a volcano in the biblical talk is called a furnace. Then from the smoke came locusts on the earth, and they were given power like the power of scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any green plant or any tree, but only those people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. The seal breakdown can be found in New Revelations Interpretations, chapters 6 through 7, pages 24 and 25. All right, again, go to the website, find9news.com, and you can get those 22 books of Revelation that has been reinterpreted into what they supposed to say. All right, they were allowed to torment them for 5 months, but not kill them. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings someone. In those days, people would seek death and would not find it. They would long to die, but death would flee from them. In appearance, the locusts were like horses prepared for battle. On their heads were that looked like crowns of gold. Their faces were like human faces. Explanation. This speaking of faces being seen in the smoke of volcanoes at the time. And also, it said their heads would look like crowns of gold. So not only do you see faces in here, but if you look down at the volcano, the top will be what they're calling the crown or the head. And the lava that's coming out, a lot of the lava is golden. So that's what they're describing in the book of Revelation. They're describing volcanic eruptions all around. All right? Revelation 14, 9 through 11. And a third angel followed them, calling out in a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark on his forehead or his hand, 10, he will drink the wine of God's anger, poured undiluted into the cup of his wrath, and he will be tormented in fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment rises forever and ever. Day and night there's no rest for those who worship the beast and his image, or for anyone who sees the mark of his name. Explanation. The third angel is the sun. The fire and sulfur is describing volcanoes as mentioned in previous chapters before this book. Volcanoes have been around since Earth's origin over 5 billion years ago, so that is why they are being said their smoke rises forever and ever. The beast was explained in chapters 12 and 13, pages 36 and 43. Side note, remember, this will happen in the world of humanity on this planet as life goes on. Revelation chapter 21:3 says God will live on earth with man, thus supporting all the destruction and punishment and reward will be right here. Revelation chapter 15:7. Then one of the 4 living creatures gave the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of wrath and God, who lives forever and ever, and the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no one could enter the temple until the 7 plagues or the 7 angels were completed. Explanation. The smoke is coming from a volcano and no one can move around until the smoke clears. That smoke gonna be everywhere. Nupu interpretation about the Holy Quran's 14 surahs about Judgment Day. And Nazia, those who drag forth, Surah 79, 6 through 9 and 13 through 14. On the day, the blast of the horn will convulse creation, followed by a second blast. Hearts that day will tremble with their eyes downcast, but indeed it will take only one mighty blast, and suddenly they will be alert upon the earth's surface. Al-Haqqat, the reality. 69, chapter 69, verses 13 through 18. At last, when the trumpet will be blown with one blast, and the earth and the mountains will be lifted up and crushed with one blow, on that day the inevitable event will come to pass. The sky will then be so torn that it will be frail, with the angels on the side. On the day 8 mighty angels will bear the throne of your Lord above them. You will then be presented before him for judgment. None of your seekers will stay hidden. Al-Infitar, the cleaving, Surah 82, verses 1 through 5. When the sky breaks apart and when the stars fall scattering and when the seas are erupted and when the graves spill out, when each soul will know what it has sent forth or left behind. Listen to Sound Cosmic Reason. We started at 0.3 south or 0 degrees, moved counterclockwise degree by degree to 0.6 east or 180 degrees, then further up to 0.9 north or 360 degrees. Now we go to 0.6 west or 550 degrees of the smack circle of order during degree 540 or its completion. The 0.6 west cataclysm arrives. Nonetheless, after the smack circle of order gets started, that is to say, after it begins with conception of the universes of absolute nature, this big order has 80 circle cycles to go before the cataclysm that begins disintegration of the universe's advent. The 0.3 south cataclysm is called the silence cataclysm because it destroys persons and things by using solids, objects like parts of earth, stones, rocks, asteroids, comets, meteorites, volcanoes, earthquakes, fire and brimstones, man-made objects, solid objects picked up by the tornadoes and other storms, etc. Let it be remembered, also let it be known. Introduction to the Nature Book 3, page 96 of the PDF. So the Nature books is also supporting and letting that all these things are going to be going on when that time comes after World War III gets underway and starts the max. All right, Al-Infitar, the cleaving. When the sky breaks apart, when the stars fall, scattering, when the seas are erupted, and when the graves spill out, then each soul will know what has been sent forth and left behind. O humanity, indeed you are laboring restlessly toward your Lord and will eventually meet the consequences. For those who are given their record in their right hand, they will have an easy reckoning and will return to their people joyfully. As for those who are given their record in their left hand from behind their backs, they will cry for instant destruction, will burn in the blazing fire. Explanation. This isn't a spiritual fire. It's actually a place right on earth. It's called the Ring of Fire. All right? Understand that. You're not going to blink your eyes and be in a different dimension and all that other stuff. It's going to happen right here on earth. All right? All 900 volcanoes. Listen to Nubu Sound Cosmic Particles Reasoning. The description of the shaking, fires, blazing of volcanic eruption worldwide and will occur on earth and nature in the sight of all to see and experience. None of you will be in another place away from the planet Earth. Let this be known. Now we move on to the second part of the sixth gate guard. Ra's boat approaches the 7 jackal-headed poles with 2 enemies, bound to each one, waiting to be beheaded. Once again, the Kemet Egyptian insertions start again. The 7-headed jackal-headed poles, which is examples. These are the ones that I found doing research. These are the jackal-headed poles we had people tied to. We know that the jackal represents death. So we know that these people were eventually killed for whatever reason. All right, it says the 7-headed jackal-headed poles became the 7-headed beast in the book of Revelation. All right. So this is, once again, we're showing y'all how they just, Osiris and them calls this information to go from the ancient Egyptians through their mystery schools, and eventually they priests and stuff, and when they put all this stuff together, this is what they was doing. All right, it wasn't all about just talking about how many books they was going to insert into the Bible, or not all of that. It was a lot of this stuff that went into play as well. All right, the beast from the sea. The quote goes on to say the two enemies was waiting to be beheaded. We find this beheading mentioned. Revelation 20 verse 4. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge, and I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony about Jesus, because of the word of God. They had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or their hands. They came to life and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Moving on to the seventh gate God. Seventh gate, this gate is the goddess shining one, and beyond it are 20 guards holding a rope ending in 4 whips, 4 falcon heads, and 4 human heads. This is an enigmatic and barely understandable point. Listen to Nubahu Soundright Cosmic Particles reasoning. The shining one has been inserted into the Old Testament in one of Christianity's famous verses, Isaiah 14:12. How you have fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. So we know that the underworld, the Tuat, is in the bottom half, and that Ra came from what? Heaven. So now we're seeing that these 12 gate guards are in what? Hell, in the bottom half. So now they're showing you that you're falling from heaven, O shining star. And they made it go from being a female goddess to a male demigod, right? Although Job 28:7-8 mentions falcons, that's not the clue. The clue is the number 4, the animal and human heads. Ezekiel chapter 1, 4-10. Vision of 4 cherubim, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst, therefore came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass, and they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went everyone straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, the face of a lion in the right side, and the 4 had the faces of an ox on the left side. They 4 also had the face of an eagle. These same creatures are in Revelation 4:7-8. The first living creatures were like a lion, the second living creatures like a calf, the third living creatures had the face like a man, and the 4th living creature was like a flying eagle. The 4 living creatures, each having 6 wings, were full of eyes around and within, and they do not rest day or night, saying. All right, so now you got, this is the 4 living creatures in Ezekiel: lion, calf, man, and an eagle. And these are the ones in Revelation: lion, calf, man, and an eagle. The listener and reader can also see the changes from 4 human heads in Kemet, Egypt, to 1 human head, and the rest are animals. Also, the Bible editors changed the falcon into an eagle. That doesn't help them because the falcon and eagle are in the same family. Are eagles related to falcons? Eagles and falcons are 2 types of birds of prey that share some similarities but also have key differences. Both eagles and falcons belong to the taxonomic order of the Falconiformes, which means they are more closely related to each other than they are to other types of birds. However, eagles and falcons belong to different families within the Falconiformes order. Eagles are members of the Pitridae family, while falcons belong to the Falconidae family. Eagles and falcons both belong to the order Falconiformes, and this order contains diurnal birds of prey, including falcons, eagles, hawks, kites, and others. If you want to know what Ezekiel's will was really about, then watch a video Tarkina Unanuka did on this topic 2 years ago, November 11th, 2022, on Kemet Mira Marshall Tarbunu Arnett Nupul's channel. And this is where you can find the video at. Alright? So stay tuned for the 8th gate guard. True mental cosmic peace and noontime.